Welcome. Myself Darshini Jayas, Assistant Professor, Department of Economics, Government President College, Karapuram, Bangalore. The topic of today's session will be on effects of public debt. As I discussed in the previous classes, public debt is one among the non-tax revenue sources, one of the major sources of revenue to the government come under the category of non-tax revenue. With the emergence of the concept of welfare, it enhanced government activities. Government has come up with several reform measures as well as several social economic development. Government has to spend large sum of money in order to maximize social welfare of the community as a whole. So for that, government has to spend lump sum amount of money in order to meet its obligatory or its obligations, growing expenditure obligations. With larger the volume of spending, it leads to rise in the gap, or it leads to increase in the volume of, or increase in the gap of basic resource gap. It enhance the basic resource gap. So basic resource gap is nothing but total expenditure minus own source revenue. When the government is unable to mobilize resources of its own, or when the non-obligatory sources of revenue not sufficient, not adequate to finance the growing expenditure obligations. In order to meet the growing expenditure obligations, government has to rely on obligatory sources of revenue, among borrowing as one of the major source of revenue to the government. Several times, in order to meet its unexpected expenditure obligations, sudden rise in the resource gap, government has to borrow revenue from different sources. It can be broadly categorized into internal sources of revenue, internal borrowings, and external borrowings. So debt burden can be simply, in a simple terms, it can be measured or defined as debt to GDP. What is the ratio of debt, public debt, to national income? Here, the concept of debt sustainability plays a very important, crucial role. So, debt sustainability is a measure of government's ability to meet its debt liabilities without having debt relief from other agencies. So what is the ability of the government to meet its growing liabilities, debt liabilities? So without getting any exemptions, the government should be able to meet its growing debt liabilities, Then only it can be called as debt sustainability. So in order to attain that debt sustainability, two conditions need to meet. The first one is the relationship between GDP, national income, and public debt. Whether the GDP is higher than the public debt or public debt is higher than the GDP. In order to get a sustainable debt sustainability, increase in the GDP must be higher than increase in public debt. Here the important question is, whether the debt is increasing or not. And along with that, what is the at what rate the GDP is increasing, or whether it is remained constant or increasing at a slower rate or increasing at a higher rate. So at what ratio both the national income, nothing but the GDP, and public debt are rising. Suppose if you assume the rise or increase in the GDP is higher than the public debt, then we can say that is sustainable. It can be sustainable. It can be tolerable. It's a positive way. If it is utilized for development service, if it is productively utilized along with increase in the national income, then it in the long run it contributes to overall growth of economy. Along with this, what is the response of primary deficit to lagged GDP? Also plays a very important role. What is the relationship? What is the cause and effect relationship? Cause and effect relationship between the primary deficit and lagged GDP 1 year. Why T minus 1? Previous year, like lagged 2000. At present, the present year is 2021. The previous year is 2020. So, what is the relationship or the response of primary deficit to lagged debt? If it is positive, then we can say the debt is sustainable. So, these are the two conditions need to be retained. If these two conditions are met, then we can say that debt is sustainable. Overall, it is clear that what is the ratio of national income and public debt. If the increase in national income is much higher, progressive compared to increase in public debt, and if the primary deficit is positively responding, the cause and effect relationship between the primary deficit and lagged debt is positive, then we can say the debt is sustainable in nature. Overall, it depends on the purpose of utilization of debt. So for what purpose the government is utilizing, whether it is utilizing the debt for productive purpose or unproductive purpose. So based on that, it will have an impact on growth process. Nowadays, we can't say that debt is not essential. It is very much essential in order to meet the growing expenditure obligations. Several unexpected, unseen, sudden expenditure obligations force the government to move towards borrowing, whether it is an external borrowing or internal borrowing. They have their own impact on growth process. So in this, what purpose the government is utilizing the borrowed money? In the initial days, once the government borrows money, in the initial stage, it has lump sum amount of money in its hand. So with that money, how the government is utilizing that money? Well, it is in order to create infrastructure facility, or in order to it is spending on public work or short-term vote bank oriented programs is the government is spending. So based on that, we can say what will be the nature or the volume of fiscal deficit. So based on that, we can decide whether the country is going, or a state is going to has to bear heavy burden, or it may have an adverse impact on its future generation. Debt is an effective tool. It is anti-inflationary in nature. it can have several impact. In several ways it can impact on the overall economy, and even it affects the consumption, production, distribution, reallocation of natural resources, impact on private investment, impact on money market. In several ways it impact on several macroeconomic variables. So before getting into the effects of public debt, if you observe the several variables or indicators usually which are used whether the debt is sustainable or not, if the debt is sustainable or if the debt is not sustainable, mainly based on these indicators. What is the share of debt to GDP? What is the ratio of debt to GDP? And what is the ratio of gross fiscal deficit to GDP? What is the share of short-term debt? What are the strategies adopted by the government in order to reduce rollover risk? Strategies adopted by the government in order to reduce rollover risk. Whether the interest rate is fixed or floating in nature. Whether the debt is internal or external. And what is the share of external debt to overall debt, to the total debt, and what is the ratio of interest payment to revenue receipt. So these are the very key indicators which are used to know whether the debt is sustainable or not. So based on this, we can say that debt is sustainable in a country or in a state or not sustainable. So come to the objective part. What is need of public debt? So as I explained in the previous classes, debt is very much essential with growing expenditure obligations in order to fill the gap, basic resource gap or budgetary deficit. Government has to borrow money, and in order to finance its development activities, in order to invest more money, revenue for social economic overheads, government has to borrow money. In order to run the public enterprises, government has to make initial investment in the core industries, and in allocating the proper allocation of resources also government needs debt. It can effectively use borrowed money in order to reallocate the existing resources, and it can be used as a anti-inflationary factor, as anti-inflationary instrument, and debt can even used effectively to control the situation of depression. In order to enhance effective demand, debt can be effectively used, and in order to reduce unpopularity of taxes and some populist programs, in order to bring the populist programs because of political reasons also, so government can make use of debt. So due to several reasons, government has to borrow in order to finance its growing expenditure obligations. Like this, several objectives or several factors necessitates public borrowing. So with these objectives, governments borrow money, and it has its impact on several sectors or several macroeconomic variables. We will discuss one by one. The first one is effect of public debt. The first one is effect of public debt on consumption. Here the very basic concept is the public debt means the government, by selling the government bonds, government mobilize revenue. So that activity, how it impact on consumption in an economy, on consumption. So when the government get revenue, or by selling the bonds, when the government get revenue, that bonds, what is the nature of that bond? That plays a very important role. So as we know, the nature of bond is highly negotiable and highly liquid. They are near money in nature. They can be easily converted into liquid form. So when the government collects money, even when the government collects money, in that situation also, whenever the people, they prefer to go for more consumption, they can easily sell the bonds and they can utilize that for consumption purpose. Here the important question is whether the money which was transferred from the public into government is the present money, or means the money which is used for present consumption, or for past savings, or means whether the money which was deposited in the banks or the present money which they have in their hands for consumption. If they purchase government bonds using the present money, means the amount of money which they have in their hands, people. So in that situation, their present, it will have an adverse impact on their present consumption. If the people purchased government bonds using their past savings, usually the amount deposited in the banks, in that situation, it is not going to have an adverse impact on their present consumption. So here the concept is whether for what type of money they are utilized, whether they utilized the money which have used, whether they use the money which they have in their hands, to purchase public bonds, or they are utilizing the past savings, or they using the past savings to purchase public bonds. So mainly based on that, we can interpret that if it is utilized, if the present money, the money which they have in their hand, if it is utilized to purchase government bonds, overall the level of consumption decreases. The money utilized for the present consumption decreases. Otherwise, if the bank deposited money is utilized to purchase the government bonds, in that situation, no impact or lesser impact will be on their present consumption. And with this, we can say that public debt, or the bonds which are sold out by the bank in order to get revenue, can impact on consumption. The second point, effects on liquidity. Government public debt. When the government sells its bonds, banks purchase. Usually usually banks, financial institutions, they used to hold government bonds at a lump sum, at a larger amount. And as I told earlier, it is highly negotiable and highly liquid form. It can be easily converted into cash whenever it is required. Because of its nature, mainly the commercial banks, they can use the government bonds to create liquidity in order to increase the volume of liquidity. Credit creation, they can make use of it. That nature of government bonds have an adverse impact on the effectiveness of monetary policy, especially during inflation. When the government bonds, since they are near money in nature, they can be easily converted into cash. So commercial banks utilize that opportunity and move with more credit creation activity. So with that, it will have an adverse impact on monetary policy. If the monetary policy, the major objective of monetary policy is to maintain price stability, especially during inflation. With contractionary monetary policy, government come up with some strict rules like rising taxes, reducing expenditure and all. In that situation, if the nature of bonds are misutilized by the banks, it will have an adverse impact on the effectiveness of monetary policy. The third one, public debt and private investment. In this, public debt can encourage or discourage private people to invest, public to invest. Usually, it may encourage the public investors, the private investors to make more investment. Once the government gets revenue at a lump sum through selling its securities and bonds, if it is utilized for development purpose or if it is utilized for the productive purpose, if it creates infrastructure facilities, if it is utilized for public work, that encourage the private people to move with more investment. So it promotes private investment in that way. On the other hand, when the government, by selling the bonds, when government collects huge sum of money, it creates scarcity or the availability of money or the credit decreases in the overall market. So in that situation, it crowd out the private investment. The private people not even get money to invest if they get at higher interest rate, because there is a competition among the government and private people to get borrowings, means to get money. So in that situation, if the government dominates in that situation, it leads to crowd out effect of private investment. And in the meanwhile, when the government enhance the tax rate or when it imposes capital levy, when it introduces new taxes to bear the burden of debt, when it imposes more tax on its public, on its citizens to reduce the debt burden, in that situation also, with increase in the tax rate, the private investors find it difficult to move for new investment and also to continue with the volume of investment. In that way, it will have an adverse impact on private investors. Overall, for what purpose the public debt is utilized? So public debt used to enhance public expenditure. So the effective utilization, the effective way of utilization of public debt as a public expenditure in order to create assets, capital assets, contribute towards economic growth. Otherwise, it will have an adverse impact. Because the private investment is very much essential in recent decades, because with the growing demand of the public or increasing economic activities, both private and public investment is very much essential. There we come up with the concept of public-private partnership. So one of the most objective of public borrowing that is to encourage the private investment. If it is productively utilized, then we can say that it encourages the private investment. Otherwise, it crowd out the private investment. The fourth one, effect of public debt on cost of production. As a continuation of the third one, we can say, so the purpose of utilization of debt plays a very crucial role. So when the government get debt or revenue through borrowing, it should be utilized in a proper way, that it should create or it should encourage for the establishment of industries, industrial estates. For that, the government has to make huge investment on public work, creation of capital asset. So with that, the cost of production decreases. So when the cost of production decreases, how the cost of production decreases? When the government provide basic facilities like road, transportation, proper electricity. So in that way, it can be utilized. If it is properly utilized by the private people, overall their cost of production decreases. So when the government provide basic services or the public through its public work, so with several facilities, government facilities, the private people move for investment. So with that, overall their cost of production decreases when the government provides basic facilities or infrastructure facilities. So with that, when the cost of production decreases, the profit margin will rise. So that will stimulate the private people, the private investors, to move with more investment. In deciding the price of the commodity, volume of commodity, the cost of production is very much crucial along with market demand. So when government facilitate with its borrowed money, it can reduce the cost of production and encourage for more and more investment. The fifth one, public debt and production. Considering the impact of public debt on production, Dalton come up with three criteria. What are these three criteria influence on production? The first one is, in order to enhance the production, ability, willingness and diversion of economic resources are very much crucial. So, ability to work, save and investment. Providing incentives or willingness, desire of the people to work, save and investment. And diversion of resources. These three factors play a very important role. They influence the production. With this, public debt affects the production. Come to the first concept, the ability to work, save and investment. So whether the public investment nothing but when government borrow revenue from obligatory sources, that is public debt, and when it is utilized for investment, once it gets revenue, it is utilized as public expenditure on investment, whether it is productive or if the collected revenue, borrowed money, is used to pay off the interest payment. So based on that, for what purpose it is utilizing. So based on that, it can enhance the ability of the people or the investors to work, save and invest. When the borrowed money is utilized for productive purpose or to create infrastructure facilities, to provide infrastructure facilities, facilitate socio-economic services, if it is utilized in that productive way, it can enhance the ability of the people to work. Or if it is utilized only to pay off the interest payment, if it is utilized, there will be no direct impact on investors. So in the initial stage, the short run, direct impact, no direct positive impact. So in that situation, their ability may not increase to work, save and invest. They come to the second one, desire, incentive. Government has to provide incentives to work, save and investment, utilizing its borrowings. So the government has to utilize the borrowed money to improve human capital. When the government make more investment on health, education, improvement of skills, market demanding skills, when government money is utilized to enhance the skill, ability or willingness of the people, so it automatically improve the efficiency or the nature of human capital. When it improves the human capital, people desire or it incentivizes the people to work more, save and do investment. Or otherwise, it will have an adverse impact on their desire or incentive to work. So the third one, diversion of economic resources. Whether the borrowed money is utilized for desirable diversion of resources or undesirable way of diversion of resources. Here again there comes the matter of for what purpose, utilization purpose of obligatory resources, that nothing but the borrowings. Since the borrowings, once the government borrows money, means it is in lump sum. So with that it can diversify the overall resource, means it can invest on any sector, whether for productive or unproductive. If it is utilized for productive purpose, creation of social capital, creation of capital. So in that way, it can stimulate the private investors or people to make more investment, to more work, and it can create more employment opportunities if it is utilized for the development purpose in a productive way. So with that it can encourage the private investors, and private investors can invest more, and with that their they can create more employment opportunities in order to increase the volume of production. So with that, the employment, the creation of employment, the rate of employment also increases along with increasing the volume of production. So in this way, the government can impact on production. It can enhance the production through enhancing the ability, through providing incentives, and through diversion of economic resources for productive sectors. So in this way, the government can influence or enhance the production through its borrowings. The sixth one, effects on resource allocation and national income. Usually, when government gets lump sum amount of money through borrowings, it can be utilized to enhance the national income when it is productively utilized. So what purpose the resources are allocated, whether for productive or unproductive purpose. So based on that, it decides the increase or the volume of increase in the volume of national income in the long term. So if it is utilized for productive purpose, it can create more employment opportunities along with increasing the volume of production. That is the multiplier effect. So it can, through this proper allocation of resources, it can enhance the consumption, production and employment opportunities. That is the multiplier effect. So it can reach or it can enhance the national income at a higher rate, faster rate. So with that, it can attain economic growth. The seventh one, effect of debt on distribution. Here we come across with the two concepts. Once the government bonds are sold, usually the people have enough money, rich people or those who have large sum of money, so they borrow, they buy, they purchase the government bonds. So with that, the concentration of wealth increases. Means when the government sell the bonds, so for once they get the bonds, the government also even provide interest rate for that. So in that, the concentration of wealth also can be noticed. So that is, it favors the rich people or the bondholders. Or in another way, so once it's a concentration of wealth among the bondholders, means it further enhance the income inequality, the borrowing activities. What is the major intention of government borrowing is to meet its growing expenditure. So why the government do investment or do spending? Maximize social welfare, equal distribution of income and wealth along with economic growth. That is the major objective. So in order to meet the growing expenditure obligations, government move with obligatory sources of revenue. In that, public debt borrowings play a crucial role. So if it leads to concentration of wealth, income in favor of rich people, then the objective is not fulfilled. Contrary to this, there is another view that when debt can be utilized for what purpose? Government has lump sum amount of money. Okay, it sold its government bonds. Some people get benefited. In another way, with that, government gets huge sum of money. So with that, it can be utilized for the upliftment of vulnerable section, providing basic services, free health facilities, education, free and compulsory education, providing housing, some basic facilities, potable drinking water. So when the government is able to provide all these facilities with deflationary factor, because it is anti-inflationary in nature, it is not imposing more taxes. So with this it can reduce the rate of indirect taxes. When the government gets lump sum money with the borrowings, there will be no need to increase the rate of indirect taxes to get more revenue. In that situation, if it is properly utilized, the borrowed money, the government can be able, so with that government can reduce the income inequality. So debt or government borrowings can reduce income inequality. Contrary to this, in another view, when government investment, the money which the government collects through borrowing, utilized for unproductive, it may lead to increase in the rate of inflation in the economy. So in this way, it has its own positive and negative impact on distribution. Eighth one, effects on working of the money market. When money market is well developed, so government has to compete with the private sector in order to sell its securities, to raise funds, to get more revenue by selling its securities. In this, what is the nature of other securities rather than the government securities? Government bonds, that also play a very important role. What's the demand for public bonds and private bonds? What is the demand supply of public bond and private bonds? So nature of borrowers, quality of borrowers, and with that it impact on the interest rate. So when more competition, when the money market is more competitive, in that situation, based on the demand and supply factors, the interest rate varies. In that situation, government need to enhance its rate of interest, or it need to decrease its rate of interest. So it also impact on the development or working of money market. With this, it can influence the volume or improvement or the development of money market. And ninth one, effects of foreign loans on the economy. When government borrow loans from external sources, other countries, international institutions like IMF, Asian Development Bank, World Bank, so it supplements the national income once it's borrowed. When the government able to raise funds from its external sources, overall volume of revenue increases in the economy. So that can be utilized to import the necessary goods, mean the capital goods, which are very much essential for investment, to make more investment. So based on the priority, capital goods can be imported. It can import and it can be utilized in a proper way to enhance the volume of private investment in the economy, and if it is properly utilized, it reduces the repayment burden, debt servicing burden. In another way, when government gets loans from its external sources, it has to repay the amount in the lending country's currency, in terms of its own currency. So in that situation, it needs to be, if borrows from US, it has to repay in terms of dollar. So the burden will be much higher on India. If you consider two countries, like India is borrowing from US, means it has to repay in terms of dollar. In that situation, it has to bear more burden based on the exchange rate. So in that way, compared to the internal debt, it has its own impact on economy. And once once it repays, means the repayment means the outflow of outflow of a country's revenue to some other country compared to internal debt. Only the exchange takes place in the internal economy only, in internal debt. Whereas in external debt, the revenue outflows. That is one of the adverse impact. So overall, the debt enables the government to enhance its fiscal deficit. So deficit financing, it impact on deficit financing. And here the very important crucial thing is for what purpose the debt has been utilized. If it is utilized in an effective, proper way, means it can accelerate the economic growth and development of the economy. Otherwise, if it is utilized for unproductive purpose, definitely it will have a very adverse impact, or it may lead to debt trap in your future. So overall, it is evident that the ratio of debt to GDP indicates to what extent government is borrowing, or what is the share of external sources of revenue or obligatory source of revenue in the total revenue. With increase in the rate of interest rate, or increase in the rate of public debt, GDP also need to be increased. If the increase in that GDP is lesser than the increase in public debt, it will have an adverse impact on overall economic growth. Once the government get revenue at lump sum, or when the government is able to raise funds at lump sum through borrowings, it get more space to make more investment in a productive way. So in this way, the government public debt has its own impact on production, consumption, distribution, allocation of resources, influence on private investment, and so on. Overall, if debt enhance the space for development purpose, and the purpose of utilization, for what purpose, whether for the development purpose or non-development purpose, the government is utilizing. So based on that, it can accelerate the growth process or have an adverse impact on economy in the long run. So with this, I will end today's session.